What's up? Jeremy here, founder of Exclusively Games. When I started this project, it was a passion project, one that I wanted to prove that a website that doesn't rely on outrage can exist in modern day, universe. My plan was to crowdfund as long as it took to eventually build up a YouTube channel that would then fund the channel. Well, after the first 6 months, the YouTube channel really didn't pick up very much steam, wasn't generating any money. And between paying an editor and people to do social media and to write articles, the money disappeared very quickly. So we ran a second fundraiser. And at that point, I had made it my goal to figure out how to get this funded without continuing to ask for handouts, continuing to crowdsource, because I wanted the site to exist on its own. Well, that didn't work. I tried running Amazon ads. I tried doing a couple of different, ads like that. At the end of the day, the site really failed to reach critical mass. Much of that falls on me for not advertising it enough. There are sites out there that exist that grow organically, and Exclusively Games just wasn't doing that. It has a very solid, 5,000-10,000 kind of casual visitors, but that just, quite frankly, isn't enough to sell any type of advertising contract to. Then I thought about doing a third round of fundraising to get through 2020, and coronavirus hit. And then the protest hit. So for basically January, February, March, April, May, I was paying 100% out of pocket for the site, which is about $10,000 a month. I trimmed back the articles, but ultimately decided that, well, what the heck is a point of having the website if I'm not going to deliver a bunch of content? So when faced with having to choose between laying everybody off or taking a break, I chose to take a break. Starting in early June. I wanted to make this video like so many times, and it just felt so defeating to really admit that it just hasn't worked. I've failed as a leader on this website. Now, I do believe that a certain percentage of it was that the appetite for non-controversial video game content just wasn't there. Whenever we had like a mildly controversial article, that did very well. But I didn't want the site to be a rage bait place. I didn't want to be talking about SJW stuff this or SJW stuff that. It's not the market that I wanted. I didn't want to write rage bait for clicks. So I thought, okay, well, we'll just continue to stay self-funded. I tried doing some Amazon ads and stuff like that, but it made pennies. Maybe all in, the site has ever made between its YouTube channel and Amazon, maybe $250 to $500. And so I brought my editor, who's full-time, onto the quartering temporarily. I brought the social media person onto the quartering temporarily to keep their salaries going. And the news guy, the full-time news guy, was able to find another full-time job doing a better job with a higher ceiling in the meantime, so it kind of worked out that way. So what do I do going forward? Well, this is what this video is really about. I don't, with everybody, the unemployment and everything going on, it just feels like such a crummy time to crowdsource. I also think that the articles themselves, when we covered like breaking news and stuff like that, they did okay, just not that great, because we didn't have, there's a million other people that cover, hey, there's a new Logitech mouse. I was idealistic. I thought, hey, there's just this huge appetite for people that want video game news without controversy. There wasn't. I promoted it. I could have promoted it much better, but it's not as if people didn't know it existed. So the question is, what do we do going forward? right now, I paid a severance to every writer, and again, I still have the salaried employees on the clock. Um, but I no longer feel that it's likely for us to grow to the size in which we would be self-sustaining, meaning that this site would require crowdfunding 1 to 2 times a year. I also realized that I don't have the time that I thought I did. So there's an editor, full-time, Shami. She does most of the work. But I realized that I am still a bottleneck in terms of, just even simple stuff like handling forum spam. I think I can replace myself with like a webmaster or something like that can handle that stuff. But even so, I'm not sure that the site will ever, get 100, 200,000 monthly visitors if I can't cover controversial stuff. And that's not what I want. I don't want to be another, I'm not going to name names, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to write those articles. So I could keep the site going in June. Relaunch it in July on a shoestring budget and replace myself with a webmaster or something like that to make sure they can stay on top of forum spam and the Discord, which I don't have any time. Working full time, doing this full time, I can only slice up my time so much. And ultimately, I want to be very clear that the site's lack of ability to self-sustain doesn't fall on anyone else but me. The writers did exactly what we asked them to. The editor did exactly what I asked her to do. The news person did exactly what I asked him to do. For a while, we were working with a couple of YouTubers, and I wanted to pay them what was fair for their time, but it was unsustainable. My big plan was to build the YouTube channel up enough to survive, to pay for the monthly costs. That just never happened. And in a world that's increasingly difficult to make a viable business model out of just a website, I'm not sure that this will ever be one. Could we reduce overhead, keep the site up, keep the forum going, keep light articles? Yeah, we could. But the cost of the site has been extraordinarily stressful on my family. $10,000 a month coming out of my pocket every single month for the past 4 or 5 months. And it's untenable. I can't do it. My wife is laid off in the last 3 or 4 months. A lot of people don't know this. I'm not asking anyone to feel sorry for me. I'm just saying, in a time where my wife was laid off, I was still paying the salaries of everybody for Exclusively Games out of my own pocket, which was over $10,000 a month, including the writers. And I just finally, I couldn't. I was having panic attacks about it, worrying about, oh my God, what happens if, I can't pay the bills because I'm pouring money into this website. And I had to pull the plug in June to reconsider things and do the math. So I think that there are a few options going forward. One, I take the L and maybe just convert the site to a forum and a Discord connection that can exist for a small hosting cost. Two, I do another round of crowdfunding and keep things going in July and August, September, but also with fundamental changes, removing myself from having really anything to do with it outside of just promoting it. And I don't think there's really any other options. I can crowdfund it again and make the necessary changes to remove myself from the day-to-day operations, or I can take the L here, and I think ultimately it's not like the website was around for a month. And yeah, I've seen the forum and I've seen a lot of the people, sliding in talking about how it was a total waste. I don't think that it was. The website existed for a long time. It's not like it was all for nothing. months where, you know, we had weeks where tens of thousands of people were coming. The forum was doing well. All these things have had excellent weeks. So I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It sucks that it's unsustainable and that we didn't reach a point where it could be, but it's not like we didn't have some awesome stuff along the way. It's not like we didn't employ something like 20 writers paying above industry average for over the last year. I had a full-time editor employed for over the last year. I had a guy that wrote the news that was very interested in video games, and I believe that this job helped him get his next job in video games, in the gaming industry. I've had interns work for the site for college credit. There's been an enormous amount of good that's come out of this website. What I don't want is I don't want to continue to chase the dream if it just, I don't want to waste any more of your money. I can't spend any more of my own. So, you know, what do we do here? I'm sure some people are going to be pissed, but I don't know what else to tell you. You know, $10,000 a month coming out of my personal bank account, it doesn't last very long. I failed to get the site to critical mass, and I failed to get the monetization. But without the critical mass, you can't get the monetization. Nobody's going to buy ads on a website or sponsor a website that gets a few thousand hits a week. So remove myself, re-crowdfund it, or move on from it and call it a fond memory. Really, I just need you all to tell me what you think.